Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of DK Tour Fishing. Today I am in the garage, and matter of fact, I am jam-packed in the garage with the Phoenix. We got about this much leeway. I have the prop off the boat just so we could even fit in here. And just so let me show you what I'm talking about. I had a buddy of mine cut a hole in my workbench with a saw, with a big power tool, just to fit my boat, just to fit my Mercury and my Talons. So we're definitely making things work. You know, it's snowing out today and it's really cold out there. So ideally, I'd like to have the boat out in the driveway so I could deploy and stow the trolling motor. But you know what? The show must go on, and I have to get this installation done. Why? Because I've been anticipating this moment for over 3 months. Well, you know, let's back up. Over a year, really. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna have 3 graphs in the front of my boat this year for 2021, my tournament rig. Last year I had 2 Helix 12s up there, you know, with my 360 on one and my regular mapping and my sonar on the other. But what we're doing this year is I'm gonna have 1 Helix 12 that's gonna be for 360 mega, which mega requires a G4. Got that, or a G3. So I got that G4 right here. I know that thing is steaming hot right now, you know. Not hot off the streets, it's not hot, nobody stole it, I'm saying. It's hot because there's a lot of people waiting for G4s right now. There's a huge supply and demand for them, and a lot of them are still on back order. But just got this thing in a couple days ago, so we're gonna be putting that G4 on there for my 360 mega, and I'm gonna have my other Helix, my G2 right there. That's gonna be taking care of my sonar and my down imaging and my mapping. And then I have this pretty Garmin right here. I have a 1022, never had a Garmin graph on my boat. I know a lot about the HumminBird technology, so the Garmin technology is new to me, but I haven't really slept in months. I've just been up really pretty much reading and researching and understanding, comprehending, you know, because I want to have this installation done. I want it to be comprehensive for me. I want it to be comprehensive for you. And I want to show you guys a badass rig with 3 graphs on the front of the boat. And this is pretty much the latest in technology right here. So let's do it. If we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it all the way. Let me explain to you what's going on here first. I have everything kind of laid out here for you guys. As you notice, everything's kind of like shaping right up to this battery right here. We're gonna take 360, we're gonna take LiveScope, and we're gonna isolate them onto power. And they're gonna have their own lithium battery power source right here. So that's the right way to do it. It's the right way to do it for me, you know, because as you could tell, I have a lot of other things on the boat already running off of my big cranking battery in the back. So I don't want to put these sensitive sonar components on my big cranking battery, not because they can't handle it. I have a big 125 amp hour Ionic Lithium back there. I know it could handle it, but because 360 and LiveScope, they are sonar components that are power sensitive. And you know, that's why I have this NMC battery right here, this lithium. If you guys are interested in what I'm talking about with lithium NMC batteries, lithium batteries with high voltage, they do not drop under 12 volts. So check out that video. I have it in the description for you guys if you want to check out the unboxing for that. But we're going to use that Amped Outdoors lithium battery. We're going to put the 360 mega and the LiveScope both on that battery, and I'm going to show you the right way to do it. This way it's aside from all my other electrical components, so we have less interference, we have a higher voltage, we have a sturdy power source that doesn't have any other interruptions in it. Our LiveScope will not display low voltage throughout any course of the day. You know, our 360 mega is not going to turn off on me. I'm gonna have a power switch hooked up to it, just in case any monkey business goes on. Flip the power switch, get right back to fishing. I don't have to stress out and throw a hissy fit. It's just makes sense for me to do this stuff myself. I have to be very familiar with everything on my rig. You know, this is my line of focus, so I have to know exactly what's going on. I'm not gonna pay thousands of dollars for sonar equipment and then give thousands of dollars to a dealership just to install it, not even the correct way. So doing it myself. Now, I'm not suggesting that if you guys have your stuff hooked up a different way, you know, I'm not suggesting that your way is wrong. This is just, you know, this is just here for those who want to learn from what I'm doing. it's here for you. All right, before I take you guys to the front of the boat, let me show you what we got here exactly. We have the BalZout mount, we have the 6-inch arm and the 9-inch arm. I have a bunch of zip ties. That's mostly for my transducer cable and my 360. This right here is going to be for my wires inside my cabin. I have some hardware here. I'm going to have to need a lot of hardware for this project. I have the hardware right here. This is for the BalZout mount. This right here is your sonar power cable for the Garmin. This is your LiveScope transducer cable. This right here is what Garmin calls their marine small connector cable. What I did was I had purchased one in the 6 meters, which is a larger size, just in case the one that they provide does not accommodate the project that I need to do. I'm going to try to stick to the shorter cable because a shorter cable and less connections are better connections. So might send this back, but this is your option. If you guys aren't going to be able to reach your black box, that's what you need to buy. As I explained, I have my G2 right here. That's the G4. That's my Amped Outdoors lithium battery. And here's the bracket for the LiveScope transducer. There's my black box right here. This is just a charger for the lithium battery. And now we get into the electrical stuff, guys. Right here, I have the inline fuses. This is 10 gauge inline fuse. This is going to be for my 360. Important to use at least 10 gauge wire if you're extending the length of the actual manufacturer's power cable. So that's why I have a whole thing of 10 gauge wire right here. Really good marine grade boat cable, 10 gauge wire. It's nice and organized, you know, in this one white sleeve right here. Don't forget the power switch. Yep, don't forget the power switch. That might save you a bunch of headaches later on. So power switch is the way to go. We're gonna have to need a whole variety of the heat shrink wrap. You don't need heat shrink ones. You can use the regular insulated connectors, which I don't want to use. I want to use heat shrinks. That's why I drove all over Long Island to make sure I had all the right ones for this project. So I'm going to get into more of that. I'm going to show you exactly what I do. But to show you precisely right now, you have pretty much two options. I'm going to use, instead of putting this fuse circuit board on my battery, which is a good option, I'm going to put these connectors right here, something like that, tight fit. This way I can put my 360 and my LiveScope both direct connect right to the battery terminal. That makes me feel comfortable. I like that. Like I said, this is a good option, but we're gonna go with these. So I'm gonna show you guys how to do that. What you're looking at right here is a shiny new dashboard. Yeah, mine did not look like that last year. Mine looks like this. Don't worry about that. But yeah, cracks in the corner, all banged up. The strength of it has been compromised. So called Phoenix, got a brand new dashboard sent. I already installed it, got a head start on this. So this is my pre-existing double stack mount for my front here that I have both my Helix 12s on. I got my switches right here kind of just attached and trying not to get confused. So this thing's perfectly waiting for me to get to work. Right here is the area that I anticipate on putting my graph. It's just that this navigation light's not going to work here. So I had already unscrewed this. We're going to reinstall this. I'm going to rewire this. You know, you have to move things around. You have to create and remodify if you really want to make things happen and make the space to make things happen. So we're going to take care of that. I'm going to get the gimbal bracket out of the G4 box right now. I'm going to put this stack mount back together and we're going to get to work. You want to get the job done, you got to have enough battery power, you know? It's all about that battery power, whether it comes to GoPros, drills. Okay, let's do it. Sorry to break up the party, boys. I know things look so beautiful, but that's the end of that. Let's get this gimbal bracket hooked up here. fits, yes. Ooh, there's the plastic right there. Ugh. Should I peel it? No, I can't do it. Looking really good, guys. All right, let's get this Garmin 1022 right here on this BalZout mount. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go with this 6-inch. We're gonna bring this thing up there and we're gonna size everything up, but let's get this thing on here first. You could tell I never had a Garmin before because I can't even get the cover off the freaking thing. Man, well, gonna start somewhere, right? And not a bad place to start. Set off the relationship right, you know what I mean? I'll take the first step, you know what I'm saying? And then she could reciprocate later when we're on the water. All right, now one critical thing about finding a mounting location is you want to be able to make sure that you could reach under the hull. This way you could put the appropriate hardware on there. I got these big washers that I really plan on getting some good washers under the hull. This way I can bolt and washer this thing really tight with some lock nuts. And I want to find the appropriate spot to do it. This is looking good. I have clearance from the trolling motor cable. I'm going to tape off my parameters right here. I'm going to take this dashboard off right here. It's not fully secured. This way I could get my arm under here and make sure that I could find a secure area under my hull to secure this mount. Because if I do not have a very secure area, I am going to send my boat off of a huge wave on Lake Ontario, and I'm going to rip this thing right off the front of my boat, and then we can kiss our brand new Garmin goodbye instead of hello. Give or take, guys, this is pretty much what my setup, my 2021 tournament rig setup is going to look like. I mean, unbelievable. Just think about it, right? Staring at your map, navigating your lines on your contour map, and you're looking at the bottom with your sonar and your 2D, looking out in front of you and around you with your 360 mega. And if I see something in front of me I want to shoot on that looks good, you better believe I'm going to shoot at it if I see fish in that 20-degree cone on the Panoptics. So I definitely have it planned out. I might not have it all figured out, but I'm figuring it out. And once I have the installation and everything down pat, I'm going to be able to get on the water, and I'm going to show you guys how I'm tuning my electronics and how I'm dialing in all my frequencies. The hardware in this mount has to be set perfectly in order for this mount to really do its job. So this is very critical, you know, this is a critical part of the project. Oh yeah, we're gonna do some vacuuming later. If you can get these big washers behind the backing of your deck, then that's going to give you more support. So I'm going to get these guys screwed all the way in. I'm going to get the washers behind there. I'm going to get my lock nuts behind there, and we're going to move on. Now, I told you guys I have a very minimal amount of space to work with, you know, and I was very strategic the way I laid this out, but look at this, you know. This is awesome. So this hole right here that I had from my navigation light, I'm actually able to use this to run my sonar wire right through here from my Garmin graph. So I'm really happy about that. This way I don't have to drill you know, a bunch of holes in my boat. The thing already looks like Swiss cheese as it is. All right, guys. Here is your Garmin LiveScope transducer. I'm going to be mounting this to the shaft of my trolling motor. It's going to go right directly under my 360 Megapod. They have a piece here that comes with it for you to, it's an option for you to mount it on your trolling motor head. That's not a good option for me. Your transducer is more protected on your trolling motor shaft, so we're going to choose that. We're going to go with that option. Everything's very tight up in the front of my boat over there, so we have to make sure everything fits. There's a thread pattern right here that's going to fit perfectly on there. So we're going to use the provided hardware that they give you. All right, you want this thing to be tight, but you want it to be loose enough where you could still turn this way you could change your transducer from shooting downwards or forward shooting sonar. So let's go to the trolling motor and get this thing mounted over there. All right, guys, so for this step, you want to make sure that your LiveScope transducer is about 7 inches, at least 8 inches clearance from your barrel of your trolling motor head. The plastic fitting that we have the LiveScope transducer secured to, it has an 8-degree angle, so therefore your beam is going to shoot out and it's going to have clearance of the trolling motor barrel. You also want to make sure, well, I also want to make sure that I have some clearance from my 360 Megapod, so I might have to maneuver this back another inch, so it's going to take some little bit of adjusting. So my wires aren't all tied down yet on my trolling motor shaft. I'm going to actually come back and do that later on. So I'm going to mount this down semi-permanently because it seems like this is where it's going to end up. It's on the right angle right now for forward imaging. So I'm going to get all my cables. Right now I'm going to worry about running all my cables down to where I'm going to put my battery, and we're going to get that whole entire battery situation, all the wires banged out and everything. We are going to run all my wires through the dashboard, and it's going to have to get snaked down this part of my deck into this beautiful space right here, which I use for a lot of tackle, a lot of plastics. And this is where we're going to configure the whole brains of the operation, or the whole power foundation of the whole operation, and all the connections. All the magic's going to happen right here. All right, now we're starting to deal with wires. No reason to let them intimidate you. Everything has a function and a purpose. Just to manage my wires right off the bat up here. I have my transducer and my 360 wire. We're not going to have to worry about doing anything with them because they're for up front. So we put them aside. This is my 360 power wire right here. We are going to be running this, snaking this through, because this is going direct to this new power, lithium power. So that wire is coming with us. This is our transducer wire for our LiveScope. That's going to go to our black box. This is our Garmin Marine and Network cable. It's called a small connector cable, apparently. That's what they call it. And this is the 18-inch wire that connects to it, the adapter. It's a short deal what you got going on here. You know, this one's probably not even 6 feet. This one's 18 inches. So it's not going to reach all the way back towards like your console for a lot of you guys. And that's the reason why you're going to have to buy one of these separately. But I don't want to use this. I want to return this actually. I want to use a shorter wire. All right, so we have to get all those wires snaked through. This right here is my power wire for my new graph, for my new Garmin 1022. I don't have to snake this through to my cabin with all the black box stuff. You don't have to do that. I'm gonna have to snake it into the front of my hole over here just to get it into my circuit board, and that's direct wired to my lithium batteries in the back. I'm keeping that separate from this whole deal, guys. The new lithium battery is only for LiveScope and 360, just for those sensitive sonar components. I'll let my other battery handle all the other dirty work. We have this little hole right here, and we have this hole right here, and that's my portal to this cabin right here. Here's my snake. A couple of broken rods. They actually work pretty well. They flex pretty good in there. See that? No, this is a good rod. This is a St. Croix actually. I've won money with this rod. This was my first punching rod. Man, I got stories. All right, so here's your two major things that you need to have mounted in here and secured, because I'm doing 70 and I'm jumping waves and I'm trying to get to my spot. So I need this stuff to be mounted down really good. So we're going to put our black box right in here on the side of the wall. I'm going to show you guys. And then I'm going to get my battery secured. This is really important as well. We're going to secure this battery box. I call it a battery box. It's an ammo box, and I am custom building it to fit on the side of my rod locker in here. So if you could see, I took styrofoam actually, and I cut it perfect size, measured it, and taped it. It's transparent tape, and the tape's fitted, and everything's fitted this way. My battery is perfectly fitted. There you go. Very, very secure. So it's not going anywhere. So this thing's pretty much 90% done. If you see, if I close something in it like that, since there are some grooves right here, see how I had it when I was testing it out like that. That's a secure battery. That battery is not going anywhere. All right, so since we're drilling in the side of my tackle locker here, it's pretty thin actually. I want to make sure I have good washers. You know, you're always using good washers. Washers have surface area. This way you can get a good grip on what you're doing. Hey guys, fancy to see you here. Let's drill some holes in my boat. All right, I'm gonna securely fasten this battery to the side of my tackle locker, just like I did with this black box. I'm gonna make sure I drill holes that clear my battery. I took my battery out of the box, obviously, from when I'm drilling. All right, wow, this came out awesome. I mean, I don't know if you guys can see that perfectly, but I got my battery box fitted in here. I got the lid back on. Really tight squeeze with the lid, but it's workable. I got all my back fittings all really tight in my locker. Let's wire this puppy up. All right, guys, main point of this video, right? We are direct wiring Mega 360 and Garmin LiveScope to their own isolated power source. Here we have some of the tools, some of the components that we're gonna need to do the job. Here, just to show you guys, we have our Garmin LiveScope power wire coming out of our black box. That's gonna go direct to the battery. And here we have our Mega 360 power wire coming out from the Mega 360 in the front of the boat. That's gonna go direct to this battery as well. Now, there's some things that we have to take care of along the way, and that's why we have this stuff laid out here. First of all, I want to tell you guys, heat shrink wrap terminals. The heat shrinks, they're waterproof, so try to use those. I have an assortment of various sizes here to accommodate the appropriate gauge wire that I'm going to be using. So we have inline fuses that are appropriate for this job as well. The inline fuse on my Mega 360 wire, I had installed that myself going back when I had this on this fuse block in the front of my boat, and I'm going to take this off actually because it is less than 10 gauge. I'm going to be using this 10 gauge wire right here. Anything I'm going to be adding to these stock power wires, it's going to be 10 gauge at least. So I'm not going to compromise the amount of current that I have moving through these wires. So I'm taking this inline fuse off. I'm going to leave the inline fuse that comes stock with on the Garmin wire because it's a pretty thick gauge wire and it's a stock component. I'm not going to compromise the factory component with my own aftermarket stuff. So I have that already figured out. So inline fuse going to 360. This guy's staying the same. I have a toggle switch here that we're putting on 360. This way I could turn the 360 off if I need to, or if it glitches, if it stalls, any type of monkey business, funny business, this takes care of everything. I might put a toggle switch on the Garmin LiveScope as well as time goes on if I feel like it's drawing power or too much power, but I think I'll have a sufficient amount of battery. I have these double clips right here. These things are going to be awesome because I'm going to be able to put the Garmin LiveScope and the Mega 360 both on this battery direct, and if you weren't doing that, say you wanted to put another component or more components on this battery, your other option would be right here. You have a fuse block terminal, which you would be able to put several other sonar accessories or electrical accessories on this fuse block as well. And if I was to use this, I would be wiring this from the battery direct with 10 gauge wire. All right, let's get the Garmin LiveScope power wire out of the way first, especially because it's fused already for me. So we're gonna put the appropriate size heat shrink wrap terminals on here. I have the 10 gauge for the red wire, and the ground wire is a 14 gauge. All right, we're all hooked up. I like the way it looks. It's pretty nice. So now we're gonna take care of the 360. It's just gonna be a little bit more of a pain in the ass, but we're gonna get this one just as beautifully. All right, you have your positive and you have your ground. There's actually an extra ground wire. I have it taped back right now. It's fine like that. If you're experiencing any type of interference, you have an option of whether you want to take that ground and attach it to a negative terminal as well. This is very thin gauge power wire, so I'm going to be hooking it up to an 18 to 22 or 18 to 20 gauge heat shrink wrap terminal, and it's going to go directly to my inline toggle switch, which I'm going to have 10 gauge wire coming out the other side of this, and that's going to go to an inline fuse and to my battery. The reason why I'm putting the 10 gauge wire on there is because I need a little bit of extra length to get to the battery. This wire is short. It's coming from the front of the boat, opposed to the Garmin LiveScope wire that comes from the black box, which is aside from my battery. So definitely going to attach some thicker gauge wire here. Alright, so as for connecting your power switch, guys, you just want to make sure your switch is directly between your positive terminals, and then your ground wires have to be connected together aside from the switch. No ground wire on the switch. I'm going to be using these ring terminals because I have 10 gauge wire to connect to a 20 gauge wire, so this seems like the best way for me to do this. Nice and tight, secure it with a nut and a bolt. Alright, accessory test. It's important to make sure everything works. We're going to flip this switch right here because I've been changing fuses. You guys haven't been seeing it, but I've been changing fuses out. And wow, that was quick. Connected just like that. So, look, I'm going to unflip it. This should say unconnected. I just killed the power on the switch. There it goes. Unconnected right there. Alright, battery box is done. Black box is done. Wires are snaked. Graphs are mounted. We're really almost done here. All we have to do is pretty much secure all these wires up here, manage them on the trolling motor cable, pull the boat out of the garage, test everything out. I want to show you guys, look at my battery box. I drilled 2 slits here so I could separate the 360 and the LiveScope. If I'm not mistaken, they're the same frequency, so I'm not worried about these wires really interfering with each other, but I have them managed very nicely right now. And all I have to do is really get these wires pretty much squared away in this compartment. Just to show you guys real quick, my battery box. Ah, that's refreshing. I'm gonna just rig up a piece of styrofoam on the top. This way I can cover all my angles and make sure that that battery is secure no matter what. All right, back up in the front of the boat. Let's get all this finished. We have wires to organize here, of course. All my stuff that was already pre-configured here. I had my transducer wire, I have my 360 network wire, and my 360 power cable. We're gonna put those back along the length of my trolling motor cable. And now we have the LiveScope transducer cable to deal with as well. We have zip ties right here, a bunch of zip ties for the 360 cables and the transducer cable. But as far as the LiveScope cable goes, you're going to want to use black tape, electric tape, good electric tape, because it's a sensitive wire, so you don't want to damage it. But a plot twist to the whole thing. Took a trip to Bass Pro Shops, so got the Garmin perspective mount. So I'm going to put this thing right up in the front here, and I like the perspective mount because this arm offers you a little bit of clearance away from the barrel of the trolling motor over here. So therefore, I'm going to be able to clear that trolling motor, and I'm probably going to be able to keep this a little bit lower on the shaft as well. Therefore, I won't have to move my 360 up at all. And I don't want to move my 360 up because if I'm in the waves, that thing's going to come flying up out of the water. And then the safety features might say 360, out of water, 360 disabled. And I don't need that happening while I'm fishing. Now, I want to take those preventative measures right now. So let's get this thing all done. Time to carefully bring this thing back through. I just got to take them off one by one and remember where they belong. There we go, starting to look like a boat again. Now that's the proper way to do it right there. All right, I got everything looking real clean in here, real good. Don't worry about these rainbow colored wires on your power cord for your Garmin. Just gonna tape them back along the power cord and get them out of the way. All right, so I just had the garage door open long enough for me to stow and deploy the Ultrex. This part of the trolling motor cable was actually in the way of the graph a little bit on the top. It was a little bit of an obstruction. What I did was, there's pivot points on the BalZout mount. I had just adjusted the pivot points and I had rotated this thing out of the way. Now it has enough clearance so I can actually stow and deploy my Ultrex, no worries. But I'm really confident now because this fits a whole lot better than it did before. So this is starting to lay out really nicely. I still have the option to kind of move this graph, you know, perfectly horizontal, parallel with my other ones if I want to while I'm fishing, but otherwise that's a really nice spot right there. I have enough clearance, so that lays out nicely. So I'm not going to get into it, but I needed to do a transducer change in the front of the boat. This transducer orientates on the opposite side with the wire, so I will be stowing my prop outwards instead of inwards, which pretty much just changes the orientation of the LiveScope transducer, but not a big deal. I showed you guys how to use that 8-degree mount before. Now I'm going to use the perspective view mount. I'm going to use the perspective view mount in the front of the boat over here. I'm going to throw that on there. I'm going to run this LiveScope cable. I'm going to tape it up here. I'm going to show you guys, and I'm going to run it down my trolling motor cord right here. All right, Garmin perspective mount going on the port side. Let me know if you guys want. I will do a separate video for you guys on installing the perspective mount. We're going to run right through this part. All right, LiveScope transducer is on. Perspective mount is good. I'm going to put it down in perspective mode right now. That's already there. See, perspective mode. This way I know that I have enough clearance from the trolling motor to use my perspective view, and then I know that I'm going to need a little bit of extra leeway before I start taping this trolling motor cable, which I'm about to do. But that's the extra space that I'm going to need on the cable because, well, this is the position I'm going to be fishing in, most of the position on forward view, and then I have to adjust this to forward view. But like I said, perspective view right there. This way I have a little bit of extra slack in the line. All right, enough slack in the line there. Start to tape over my transducer wire. Oh my God, that feels really nice. All right, so coming right along, I have my tape here, tape here, tape here. I want to make sure my wire is nice and secure here. This feels really good. This is an important part of the whole project right here, guys. It's very important that you have to leave enough leeway with this wire so you don't stretch it around your pivoting point of your trolling motor right here. The important part of this step that you have to note is you're supposed to take a screwdriver head or a razor blade, you know, something sharp, get in there very carefully and separate these two wires. Well guys, I'm no barber, but this straight edge razor here is actually a really good choice to get between the wires. You got to be extremely careful and then get in there and pull these apart with your hand. What we want to accomplish here is expanding it for 10 inches and 4 inches wide in the middle. So 4 inches wide in the middle and 10 inches in length. That's what you want to accomplish here, as this pivot point in the middle here, this rotation point being the center of where you break the wire. So 5 inches on each side of that. All right, I got her busted wide open for you guys. So let's see, 4 inches, perfect, and 10 inches this way, looking pretty good to me. It's a perfect amount of room for both of these wires to go 270 degrees both directions. All right, let's get this thing in my dashboard. Yeah, it's definitely gonna require some finagling getting this thing in that hole. There's a lot of wires in there right now. A lot of wires in there right now, but it's okay because we're gonna take my beautifully organized wires from before for my 360 and my transducer, and we are going to clip these. We're going to take them back out. We're going to fit this guy in, and then we're going to pull them back through. We're going to manipulate everything, and then we're going to make everything work. And I'm going to get a TH Marine troll jacket. Actually, it's coming in the mail right now. It's just $30 sleeve. It's going to just fit right over the cable. This way everything's protected. Yes. And we have success, guys. Right here we have the wire from my transducer, and that's my LiveScope wire, and this is my 360 wire, and then here's the power wire as well as the wire that goes to the black box for the Garmin. What's up, Garmin? So that's all good. I'm gonna take my 360 wire, my transducer wire, and I'm gonna run them back through this hole. This way they can connect right up to the back of my units. Gonna get everything managed like I had before, organized, and we're gonna finish this thing up. Oh my God. Yes. See, everything is just a matter of applying your mind to it. You have to really apply yourself, and anything's possible. LiveScope wire, we're gonna snake that back to the black box. Gotta go get my punching rod / snake tool. We have these wires right here, perfect. Everything's done with that. So just one thing to mention, this is the power wire for my navigation light. Remember we were talking about that before, this good old guy right here? Yeah, well, he doesn't really fit here anymore, especially since we have this thing facing this way and a lot going on up here. And to tell you the truth, I definitely don't feel like drilling a 1 1/8 inch hole in my deck. You know, I've drilled enough holes in my poor boat. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the navigation lights for green and red navigation lights for starboard and port, and they're adhesive strips. So I'm gonna put them right there. I'm gonna run the wires, you know, through a small hole, probably over here, and then I'm just gonna work with the wire that I have here that's already on a switch. You know, I have a switch right there for my lights and my trim, and I also have a switch down there on my dash for that. So I'm definitely going to utilize that wire. So I'm going to keep this wire here for when I need it. Definitely need that to compete. Okay. All right, organization is key. Let's make sure we put these back in the right spot here. Good space to pitch a jig right here. Wow, I'm all finished, guys. I don't even know what to say. I've been working really hard on this boat. It's taken me about 5 days coming home from work, putting in some hours on the boat. Now, I put some hours in, you know, it's been a project, but let me put it in perspective for you guys. If I would have taken my boat to a service center, they would have had it for about 6 weeks, and I would have paid, oh my God. If you take the money that you spend on products for your boat, and then you add it all up, take 40% of that. That's how much the service center is going to charge you in labor, estimate, okay? Maybe more, okay? So as you guys can see, my money goes to my hard-earned electronics. I'm not going to give it to this dealership. You know, I saved myself thousands of dollars with this installation, guys. Let me show you what I did. Let me give you the grand tour. Now, as you can see, my boat is a mess. You know, this isn't even half of the mess. You know, this is my workbench. The boat's been a workbench, limited space, but I got a lot of vacuuming to do. Let me show you what's good up here. Oh, we are looking crispy in the front here, but everything is held down. Everything's held down through the magic going on in this compartment right here, guys. As you've seen, I mounted my black box. Look at that, the switch. I have it hanging perfectly here. I have it secured, hooked in, secured with tape. It's not going anywhere. I got a piece of Gorilla Tape over this rubber hinge right here. So switch is ready to be flicked. What else do we got here? My beautiful battery box. Look, I have this piece of styrofoam only on the top just so everything stays super secure. Those wires won't come out. This battery won't come up, not even a millimeter. I got the holes ran on the side of the battery box. This way, everything is nice and streamlined right out of the box. Let's power up the units. Oh my goodness. Now that makes me feel good. Now let's just give this a test real quick. Okay, we're working, guys. We're working really magnificently here. 360 disabled, out of water. Yep, I would say we're out of water. What do you guys think? And then let's go to my new Garmin here, and let's see. Looks like we got some learning to do. We are gonna go to sonar, and ooh, look at these fancy options I got here. I don't want to mess with anything but the LiveScope. Oh boy. Yes, sir. TH Marine troll jacket, right? That's what they call them, troll jackets? Yeah, well, this thing just came in today. Perfect timing to finish this video up. All right, limited space under this garage door, but let's do this. Wow, that's awesome the way that fits in. It'll be even better when I can actually get the boat out of the garage, but look at that, that's beautiful. Well, what did I do that could have saved me so much money and labor at a service center? Well, really anything I put my mind to. That's the answer to that question. We mounted a LiveScope transducer. I've never used Garmin LiveScope or messed with any Garmin stuff in my life, okay? So this was a learning experience for me as well. We got the perspective mount on here. I could do a separate video just on that if you guys want. I changed my transducer from an old beat up transducer I was using 2 years ago. What else did we do? We split the cable, we ran it down the trolling motor, we got a new trolling motor jacket sleeve. We installed 360 and LiveScope, both to their own isolated direct power in there. We put 360 on a power switch. I replaced my dashboard. I replaced fuses, I replaced fuse holders, inline fuses. I hope this video can help you guys, even if you're not gonna go all out and do some crazy installation like me and spend all your money. You know, if you're gonna do a little installation, this can just be a tip to you, you know. You guys can do it yourself. And if you guys have any questions, anything I didn't go into detail in this video, please just reach out and ask me a question. I would be more than happy to help you guys personally on a one-on-one. I will help you out. That's what I'm here for. Please subscribe, guys. Hope you guys have a good night. I can't wait to get out on the water and learn how to dial in this LiveScope. Let's do it. 2021, let's do it.